Welcome to another episode of Real Talk. I'm Joe Deerdorf.
And I'm Elizabeth Friedman.
And we are brokers on the Karate Group here in the city of Chicago and Chicagoland area. Today, Elizabeth, we are going to be talking about top mistakes when buying a home and which ones to avoid. Get us started. What would you say is the top mistake that you advise all of your buyers to avoid when going in to purchase a house?
I would say to avoid getting too emotionally involved in any property you see. So you'll have a list of the things that you're looking for and a price range and a neighborhood. And sometimes people will go in and see a house that they just love and they start to throw all the other stuff out the window. You know, it's really too far from work, or it's too far from family, or it doesn't have the requisite number of bedrooms, and so, but they love the kitchen.
They love the looks. They fall in love with how it looks, and you're exactly right. It's so important to always keep your top three priorities front of mind when you're walking through the house.
Yeah.
Which I think you just hit them all. It's price, it's location, and practicality for getting to where you need to be and what you want to do in your lifestyle.
Yeah, looking for a house is like dating. Don't just grab the first one you see. Looks are not everything.
You know, because when you sign, you're committed.
That's right. And those looks
You're
fade,
married.
my friend.
Like they
Houses
say,
age.
you
Yeah.
marry the house, date the We're not going to
Exactly.
go back to that.
Right.
But
right.
you get it. So what are some others besides the obvious that you can think of? I have a few, like draining your savings account in order
Yes.
to get the house of your dreams. Strongly not recommended. You always want to leave yourself a cushion of at least 3 to 6 months to cover your overall living expenses in the event you have a job change or a financial crisis.
You don't want to be house poor.
What is house poor?
It means you buy a house that's more than you can afford, or you put down more money than you can afford to put down, and then you find yourself not being able to do things like eat, clothe yourself.
So if you go to your friend's brand new 4,000 square foot home and they have no furniture,
Right.
they're probably house poor.
Probably house poor. If you cannot furnish it, you cannot afford it.
And that's something very much to keep in mind. People get really obsessed with the number of rooms, the square footage, but you have to think about the associated costs with that. Not just for furnishing it, but heating it, cooling it, insuring it,
Absolutely.
painting it, et cetera, et cetera.
All the maintenance that goes into a house or into a condo. Absolutely.
So along the lines of when you said your buyers sometimes fall in love with the kitchen, I always like to help my clients see the context of what that pretty kitchen costs them at the end of the day, and if that house is maybe priced more high than what the renovation actually costs, which can be the case. You know, maybe you can find a house $60,000 cheaper and do a $20,000 kitchen on your own,
Yeah.
and now you're a net positive 40 grand.
Yeah, people are often afraid of projects, and most projects you can actually do yourself or hire someone to do for a pretty reasonable cost if you shop around.
You are paying for that convenience when it's already done for you.
Absolutely. And you're not putting your own taste in it.
Speaking of taste, what do you say when your buyers go into the house and they hate that red wall color and they want to leave immediately? But otherwise, you know it's a great house for them.
I say for $100 you can paint that wall a different color. Don't let wall color, carpet color, anything like that, anything that's easily fixable, like poles on drawers in the kitchen, things like that. Don't let any of that deter you from considering a particular property, because those are easy to change out. Things like moving walls, having a layout that doesn't work for your life, those kinds of things are deal breakers. A red wall, not so much.
I've actually had buyers ask me if they can add a basement to a house that doesn't have one.
Really?
And it's a fair question, but it's completely impossible, and that's something that you really shouldn't look past. If you fall in love with the house but it has no basement, that has a huge change on your value, especially resale value.
Now, when you say fair question, what do you mean?
I mean, nothing's off the table when a buyer falls in love with the house, but they see an objection and their mind finds a way to overcome it, even if it's not even feasible.
Like, can we put a helicopter pad on this very pointy roof?
I haven't had that one yet.
You will.
I
Give
need
it
friends
time.
with helicopters first.
Give it time. You'll get there.
I can't tell you how many times I've had a buyer say they're going to do X, Y, and Z to the house, and then they absolutely never do it. More than likely, if the house is hitting 3 of your top 4 or 5 must-haves, you should be making an offer on that house. You know, you have your 5 tops that you want. If you're only looking for a house that meets those 5, you're probably not going to find it. That's why we say if it's 3, if it's 4, this is a house you should be writing an offer on. And we should keep things like price, location, practicality for your lifestyle, size for what you need in the next 3 to 5 years. It may be the right size now. Is it going to be the right size in 3 to 5 years, or is it going to be too big?
Especially if those 1 or 2 final things that they don't have included are things they can pretty easily add or eventually do, but that aren't rebuilding a new house, right? So if they have the basics, the right neighborhood, the right layout, meets their lifestyle, you're doing pretty well.
Yes, we should be writing an offer. Anything else you want to add? Any cautionary or words of wisdom?
Try to have friends who can afford less than you, and every house you look at will look amazing.
She said it best. Thank you for tuning in for our episode of Real Talk. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening.
So, Joe, what do you mean by that?